Yo! Hello, everybody. SML, I saw you on Top Story. No way. No way. That's not the right show. Just kidding, I was on Top Story. It was really fun. Yeah, I was just hanging out with Liz Kreutz, and we were chatting about... Lias, did you see that too? That she wears the... What does that mean? Buenas noches from Chile. Max, how's it going? We got Chile in the house. Ojime. Everyone, Gavin, on TV. God, behold my rockets. Yes, Breaking the Spell podcast, for sure. Like, I mean, I'm telling you, it's the great, I don't know, it's the great unifier, I hope. Hunter Burke, how's it going? How is my Big Mac? I didn't have a Big Mac. Big Mac? Yeah, right. I have to eat a salad every single day because apparently my cholesterol's all messed up. Where's my snack? Gonzo. How's your day going, SML and Hunter and Reed and Breaking the Spell podcast and Jacob and Max? Great to see you guys. All right, so we've got some breaking news coming in right now that we were trying to get to the top of the show. I believe Ryan Riley is going to be joining us. Give me 2 seconds to load everything up. Bad news, I'm just going to tell you right now. We pre-taped, that's why we're running a little bit late. We pre-taped the top of the show because we are going to be joined by an astronaut, and unfortunately, Jose could not be with us a little bit later, so we had a pre-tape with him, which means that I think our live feed is going to end here a little bit early on Friday. That means that you can stick around and hopefully watch, maybe over on NBC News Now or a television where you can see the full show, or you could just, you know, unplug and like just let your brain just not be connected to anything else other than the present moment. We just had a moment of Zen from this monk that's walking across America, and he was like, don't think about the future, think about the present. And I was like, hey, did my producers put this in here for me? Like, is this are they trying to tell me to chill with the future stuff? But it was cathartic. So I'm gonna try to do that today, but yeah, our show might end on the stream a little bit early, but it's still gonna be going on from 4:40 until, or no, from 5:40 until 6 o'clock here on the West Coast, from 8:40 to 9 o'clock on the East Coast. So please tune in. Where is, oh, look who's up there. Hello, Lise, how's it going? Good to see ya. Cheers.
Cheers. We are doing some last-minute moving and shaking here, but we're getting it done.
I bet you are. I bet you are. All right, so let's see. We're still starting. All right, just pulling down the rundown here. Starting in Minnesota. We got Ryan, right?
I believe we're working to confirm Ryan with DC. We just got the reporting confirmed not long ago.
Hey guys, it's Scotty Schwartz.
Yeah, can you hear me? Oh, it helps if I do this. Okay, so I got to talk to you on this. There we go. Yeah, we got the reporting confirmed not long ago. DC is working to make sure he can do it, which I hope isn't a problem.
Okay.
We're just going to pretend it isn't and hope for the best.
Okay.
If you want to take a look at A1, that has been updated with the latest breaking news. I don't know if you want to share that with our friends.
Yep.
It is reportable.
All right. Yep. You guys can't hear Lisa, right? She's telling me secrets in my ear. So here's the plan. The plan, did they hear you guys? Wow. All right, if you didn't hear, or if you're wondering what's going on, we are going to be going to Minnesota first. There's some breaking news that we're just getting confirmed. We were hearing rumors about it, but it does look like the Trump administration is going to be launching or has launched a criminal investigation into Minnesota's Governor Tim Walz and the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey. So what does that mean? What are they looking at? What are the potential charges? Is this a subpoena? What's happening? We are going to go to Ryan Riley because I think he's got the latest on all of that. Cool. All right, we heard all that. Perfect. Gotti, where's your mug? Right here. Okay, so then after we go to Minnesota, we are going to go to the forecast because the weather is not great in the places that Lisa is, right? Because it's cold on the East Coast.
It is so cold.
Here in the West, yeah, it's super cold.
But for
here
folks in
too.
Florida,
It's like,
I'm now like really, really afraid of falling lizards.
You're a reptile dysfunction?
It still makes me laugh.
It's not a joke. It's a serious condition out in Florida. Reptile.
But they're big. They're
dysfunction. Yes, they
they're
fall
not
out of trees.
like
they can hit
when
you.
I've gone to Florida, it's like the little tiny lizards, like the little geckos.
No,
they're
these
kinda
things are
cute.
like 10 pounds.
These are huge.
Mm-hmm. They're very, very. Yeah. And like they're spiky too. Have you ever held an iguana?
No, I don't want to hold
Yeah.
an iguana. I'm sorry
Iguanas
to
can be
folks who like
spiky.
iguanas. I'm sure they're wonderful.
One of those that hits your
lovely
head.
creatures.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Then we've also got a really interesting story about Greenland and the switch in tactics. Maybe not a switch in tactics. Maybe a piling on other tactics. We're talking tariffs in addition to the potential purchase / military takeover. All options are on the table.
3 minutes.
So we're going to be talking about what that could look like, and I believe we're going to be joined by Ryan Nobles, who is in Iceland. Yeah, he's traveling with the delegation out in Iceland. And then we are going to be talking about Pokemon cards and robberies of Pokemon cards. Steve Patterson, our boy, he is now into Pokemon because he went to this freaking amazing card shop in Burbank, and he is getting hooked. Then we're doing a story on social media and children. Hallie Jackson did that story, so if you saw it earlier, it's a really, really good one. And then we're also doing a story. Is the Hamamjin piece still in, please? No.
No,
Okay.
that got killed because everything else was going a little later, but we did put in what was that?
And I see your
the
favorite
kids
DNA
in-
testing one is gone.
Yeah, unfortunately, the DNA testing dog poop. We might have to do that one on Monday. That's a really great story, though. That one holds. That's an evergreen.
I know.
That
I
one
know.
holds.
It
But
really
we
is.
do have a good one on the kids in social media crackdown from Julie Sirkin that the Senate is considering this week.
Oh, interesting. Okay, good. Wait, what is that? I
They're
don't think I've seen that
basically to impose
one. Which block?
C, Charlie block it is in right now, that they want to try to impose screen time limits, especially for teenagers, to help parents
Got it.
limit the amount of
Perfect.
time they spend on an app.
Kids, especially teens. Okay, cool. All right. Or at least their parents to get them to unplug. Cool. I know you sub to your channel. Oh, thanks. Greenland is not for sale. That is what Greenland keeps saying. Big Mike giving us the 1 minute warning.
So we are a minute from the top of the
All right.
show.
So we got.
We're less than a minute. We're less than a minute, Mike.
Now on the camera today. Yeah, we got 40 seconds. 40 seconds, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful show. All right, here we go. Off to the races. We'll go full show at the top. Here we go. 10 seconds, everybody. 10 seconds till showtime. Hey, Codester. Hope you're doing well. All right, happy news time. Hey guys, it's Scotty Schwartz, and tonight we've got new details that shed light on the moments right after Renee Good was shot by an ICE officer in Minneapolis. That report fueling new protests on the ground just as President Trump seems to back down on his threat to invoke the Insurrection Act. NBC's Shaq Brewster joins us in a few minutes. Then we're going to tell you about the president's new idea for taking over Greenland, and it may not have anything to do with military action or buying the territory outright. Plus, a bone-chilling cold snap is making its way across the country, and in some places, temperatures, as they drop, so do the iguanas.
Higher than 15 feet, 15, 20 feet or so. I'm going to say, woo, woo, woo. Oh, my goodness gracious. Oh, wow, he came right down. There you go. Whoa.
And NASA's big moon rocket, it is making a big move with the goal of taking its astronauts further into space than anyone has ever been before. That's coming up in tonight's Future of Everything. And we are starting with breaking news out of the Justice Department, which has officially launched a criminal investigation into Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. Now, the DOJ is alleging the two Democratic leaders are obstructing federal law enforcement from doing their job in the state. This coming from a senior law enforcement official and a person familiar with the matter. Now, more on that and the investigations of the details of this investigation in just a minute. But first, the city of Minneapolis is on edge as clashes continue between protesters and federal law enforcement. Officials in Minnesota are urging people to keep things peaceful ahead of more planned demonstrations this weekend. Now, overnight, we saw more protesters out on the streets, federal officers using tear gas to break up large crowds. DHS says that they arrested a dozen anti-ICE protesters, including one man they say was carrying a weapon. We are seeing scenes like this one showing a federal officer pointing his gun at people outside the federal building. Meanwhile, the president tonight, he seems to be toning down the talk of possibly declaring an insurrection.
I don't think there's any reason right now to use it, but if I needed it, I'd use it.
And we are also learning more details in the moments after Renee Good was shot. First responders say they found her in her car with 4 apparent gunshot wounds to her chest, forearm, face. Those new details igniting more calls for justice.
It's horrible what's going on, and it's a shame that that people's constitutional rights are being ignored. I hope we get some justice for Renee Good.
And NBC's Shaq Brewster is joining us from St. Paul, Minnesota. Shaq, what's it looking like out there tonight?
You know, Gotti, I'm truly impressed here because despite the frigid temperatures, despite the snow coming down, there's heavy wind here. You see, there is still a very vocal crowd here at this location that we've been reporting from for the past couple of days. This is, again, outside of that federal facility, which we know has become somewhat of an ICE headquarters. And you haven't seen the dramatic clashes that we saw over the past couple of nights. Even last night, you did have moments where police have formed a line and come out and maybe interact with the crowd, but there hasn't been the big use of tear gas, especially in like the residential neighborhoods over the course of the day. So that is a sense of progress, but something that you have local leaders and local officials kind of warning about and on edge about is the idea that this weekend you have several different protests currently scheduled, and these are protests hosted by people across the ideological spectrum. You have the National Guard saying that they are now mobilized, they're pre-positioned in different areas around the city, so that doesn't mean you'll see troops necessarily on the streets, but they're saying they'll be pre-positioned and ready in case that call comes. City leaders emphasizing they are not going to tolerate any violence, any destruction of property, and they're letting that message be very clear, Gotti.
And Shaq, there's the protests where it's not exactly the most conducive place for conversations to happen or even the airing of grievances. And yet it does seem like there's some field hearings that we're starting to see, right? You were at one of those. What are you hearing there?
Yeah. Yeah, and this is something that you had about 30 Democratic lawmakers, congressional lawmakers, members of Congress coming to Minneapolis, and they conducted this hearing. It's an unofficial hearing because it was only Democrats. Democrats, you know, do not have the majority in the House of Representatives. But the point of the hearing was to amplify the stories that we've been hearing as well on the ground. Democratic lawmakers are saying this federal surge that we're seeing here, the 3,000 federal troops, 2,000 of of those members of ICE that are conducting these immigration arrests around the Minneapolis area, they're saying this is overreach by the Trump administration. They believe that this is a political motivation, and they're saying their constituents, especially U.S. citizens, are also being impacted by this. We heard testimony from one citizen who said that she heard whistles. She was in her home. She heard whistles outside. She went outside. She saw an ICE-related arrest. So then she decided to go in a car and start to follow the agents and the officers. She said she was honking her horn. She said she was keeping distance, but she had her whistle. She wanted to notify people about the ICE presence, and then listen to a little bit more of what she said then happened.
One of the agents turned around and decided to come back and pepper spray into the vents near my front windshield, which immediately started burning our eyes and throats. When we didn't turn around, they came back again, and without asking us to get out of the car, smashed both of the front windows, dragged us out, and arrested us.
Gotti, she then said she was detained for about a period of 7 to 9 hours in this federal facility that you have protesters here protesting and demonstrating in front of. She said that she saw overcrowding there. She said that there were different sections for U.S. citizens and immigrants. She said there was no privacy. She didn't get water when she asked when she requested that. By the way, DHS, they responded to a lot of the claims that we heard, not just hers, but throughout the day in this hearing. They're emphasizing that they are following the law. They said that they're doing targeted enforcement and targeted arrests. They say that they have that they're not going to be impeded, no tolerance for anyone impeding any of their arrests, and they're saying that they will arrest anyone who impedes those investigations. But DHS and the federal government giving no sense that they're backing down. They're saying that this immigration surge is here to stay until, in their words, their mission is done.
And Shaq, what else are we learning today about the newly released documents about Renee Good's final moments?
Yeah, these documents really shed a little bit more light on what happened in the seconds and minutes after Renee Good was shot. For one, we saw from these documents, again, released by the city, when paramedics reached Renee Good, they said she was unresponsive, but did have somewhat of a pulse. She did have at least what they counted and believed and suspected to be 4 gunshot wounds, 2 to the chest, 1 to the arm, and 1 to the head. We also learned from 911 calls that at least someone who said they were coming from DHS, that they were calling rather from DHS, called and asked for support from local officials to help evacuate, to help with crowd control, saying that there were agitators on the scene. None of these were videos. This was all, or audio. These were all transcripts and documents that we were going through, but it shed a little bit more light on the chaos of the moment and the minutes after Renee Good was killed.
Shaq Brewster out there in Minnesota for us. Shaq, thank you. And I want to go right to NBC's senior justice reporter Ryan Riley for more on this breaking news. Ryan, so we're hearing about this criminal investigation into Governor Walz now and the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, from the feds. What exactly is the DOJ looking for here?
Yeah, so I mean, it actually really all revolves around speech. It's about the idea that they conspired to impede federal law enforcement officers. The actual statute that there is at issue here is a rarely used one that actually, ironically, is most recently used against a member of the Proud Boys when they stormed the U.S. Capitol, and then were later were given clemency by Donald Trump, but it has not been that often used, and it actually dates back, the language in it dates back to the Civil War era. So we're talking about a very old piece of legislation that they're using as a way to go after individuals in this instance. Actually, last month we saw that Attorney General Pam Bondi issued this memo on domestic terrorism, and this was one of the statutes that they cited as a way to go after organizations. It's sort of a broader part of the administration's efforts to go after the president's enemies, sort of left-leaning groups, and investigate a lot of the ties because there are allegations or there's a belief in the right wing that there are additional funds that are being sent out across the country, that all of this is sort of more organized. But that hasn't been borne out by any investigations, including during the first Trump administration, when they really did try to go after the finances that were behind this and just had no success.
And Ryan, we're just getting some statements here. And again, all this stuff is coming in. So I'm just going to read this. But we have one from the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Fry. Then we've got another one from Governor Tim Walz. So just paraphrasing a little bit, they're pushing back, obviously, on all of this. But Mayor Jacob Fry says that this is an obvious attempt to intimidate me for standing up for Minneapolis, our local law enforcement, and our residents against the chaos and danger this administration has brought to our streets. I will not be intimidated. My focus will remain where it's always been, keeping our city safe. Then Governor Tim Walz is saying 2 days ago it was Alyssa Slotkin. Last week it was Jerome Powell. Before that, Mark Kelly. Weaponizing the justice system and threatening political opponents is a dangerous authoritarian tactic. Then he says the only person not being investigated for the shooting of Renee Good is the federal agent who shot her. Ryan, is that true? As I understand it, the FBI is still investigating that shooting. A little bit confusing on whether or not there are any civil rights charges or a civil rights investigation. It doesn't seem like that is the case. But is that officer being investigated?
That is not our understanding. Essentially, the only way for there to be a federal investigation into the officer here would be for it to go through the Civil Rights Division, and they have said, full stop, that they're not doing that investigation. What is, according to two sources, and has been reported, is that they're looking, potentially over the victim in this case is what they're analyzing her actions. But the investigation, I should say, into this is not something that we normally see under longstanding Justice Department precedent. Normally, there would be several layers that would have to go through in order to have any sort of public action to investigate a sitting mayor as well as a sitting governor of a state. There's normally the public integrity section would look at that, but that's been completely decimated during the course of the Trump administration. So some of those safeguards and protections to prevent the politicization of the Justice Department have been wiped out. And now we have what seems to be an active investigation into two of the president's rivals, which is something that the president has made clear he wants to see. We've seen in the past that he has targeted individuals he once prosecuted. In fact, there was a message that, as NBC reported, was supposed to be private message sent to Pam Bondi laying out individuals that he wanted charged. So he's made no secret of what he wants the Justice Department to be doing.
And carrying this a little bit further, and again, this is just all we know right now is that there is an investigation. But if they are charged, could we see arrests of a sitting mayor and the sitting governor?
Yeah, I mean, the statute that yes, if someone was criminally charged, they would either be arrested or they would have to surrender in some way. Of course, that's getting a little bit down the line here. This is early stages of the investigation, and that's there's several steps that would have to take place before that. But because of those lack of safeguards that have been decimated within DOJ, this is the situation that we're in. Normally, before you would get to opening up any investigation, there would be those guards in place to consider First Amendment considerations, whether this was a politicized investigation, to sort of make sure that the Justice Department's powers weren't being abused in any way. And those safeguards from the public integrity section are just no longer in existence.
Uncharted territory. Ryan Riley, thank you so much for your reporting. And this weekend, it is looking like it's going to be bitterly cold for nearly half of the country as two winter storms sweep through. Cold weather, winter alerts are stretching across the Midwest, up and down the East Coast. Some cities already have seen more than a foot of snow in the last 48 hours. Now, winter weather means dangerous conditions on the road. This right here, that was a 30-car pileup in upstate New York. At least 4 people were hurt. And even out there in Florida, they're feeling the chill, although not everyone, clearly not that guy surfing, got the memo. Some Floridians pulled out the puffer jackets as temps dipped into the 30s and 40s, while others, they went to the beach. Oh, also iguanas. They're falling out of the sky again.
Crushing a morning walk, and yeah, we got another iguana dropped out of the coconut palm.
Don't worry, those iguanas, they're fine, and it is a lot more common than you might think when those temperatures dip. NBC's Sam Brock has more from a chilly New York City. Hey there, Sam.
Tonight, sheets of snow smothering cities from the heart of the Midwest to western New York. where planes like this one in Rochester are taking off in near whiteout conditions. One flight there even sliding off the taxiway overnight.
We were just leaving Rochester and went to go get de-iced, and as we were doing that, we slid off the runway.
No one was injured, but the perils of travel right now on full display. This is the aftermath of a 30-car pileup just outside of Syracuse, New York, a jumbled mess of jackknife trailers and trucks. Similar scenes unfolding from Indiana to Pennsylvania, where snow totals have ranged from 17 to 20 inches in just the last 24 hours. Cities like DC and New York experiencing 10-degree wind chills.
When it hit you today, what did it feel like?
Oh man, it felt like I don't want to get up and go to work today.
As the Arctic air made it all the way to South Florida, where temperatures were cold enough to, yes, cause iguanas to freeze.
Woo, woo, woo! Oh my goodness gracious!
NBC Miami capturing one falling this morning.
Yeah, tell me.
There you go.
Whoa!
Just like that.
Whoa, that is a big guy. That is a big guy. Okay.
The iguana's not hurt, just temporarily out of their element. Much like the Los Angeles Rams, set to take on the Chicago Bears Sunday with wind chills slated for 6 or 7 degrees. Even the Patriots game in Foxborough could be a snow game, fitting for what has turned into a January winter snap, showing no signs of letting up. And Gotti, looking ahead to this weekend, it's no rest for the snow weary. In upstate New York, huge lake effect snowfall in the Buffalo area. Only trace amounts expected here in New York, but the 4 states that have already exceeded their seasonal averages, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, and Indiana, are all expecting significant snowfall in areas this weekend. Once again, Gotti, let me send it back to you.
Yikes. Sam Brock, thank you so much. Let's turn now to NBC News meteorologist Bill Cairns with a look at just how cold it could get for a lot of you. Hey there, Bill.
Gotti, it's going to be an active weekend of winter weather. Cold blasts, some areas of snow, and maybe even some snowflakes in areas that don't get a lot of snow. So it's mostly going to be focused in areas from the Great Lakes through the eastern half of the country. We're not going to see, Florida in the big chill anymore. That's over with. That's going to slowly warm up. But we do still have really nasty conditions this evening. The wind isn't blowing as high as 75 miles per hour in areas like South Dakota and Rapid City, and it's picking up dust and snow. It's very poor visibility out in this region, so careful anyone traveling there. And then as we go through the weekend, isolated pockets of snow are going to cause some slippery travel in areas of the east. The first batch is going to be tonight in areas heading out of Kentucky into southern Ohio. You see this 1 to 2 inches. Again, this isn't blockbuster huge snowstorms. It's just the timing of it. If you're doing anything early tomorrow, there will be some snow-covered roads, bridges, and sidewalks. And then also, D.C. doesn't look like you're going to get any of this, but from about Philly to New York heading to Boston, there will be a little coating of snow out there on your Saturday, especially in any higher elevations outside of the cities. And then on Sunday, we may get a little bit more snow, especially for that Patriots game heading Foxborough against Houston. That's going to be on NBC and Peacock as we go throughout Sunday afternoon. That may be a snow game, maybe 2-3 inches at most. So it should be enough just to kind of look pretty. So here's the timing of everything. This is as we go through tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Notice the storm down along the coast. The green shows you where it's raining. Blue would show you where it's going to be possibility of some snow. And you notice there may be a little bit of snowflakes. It doesn't look like it's going to accumulate, but all the way down here in southern Georgia, maybe even into the Florida Panhandle, it's at least possible for the kids to see some snowflakes, and that's pretty rare. And that just goes to show you how cold this air mass is. And then we'll be watching, this is Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, not a huge snowstorm, but just enough for a couple inches, Cape Cod, eastern Long Island, Providence, all the way up through Boston. Then the Arctic Express continues. There's no end in sight to this either, Gotti. From Minneapolis to Chicago, look how cold it is. Monday, 5, that's your high temperature. Not wind chill, not your lows. This is as warmest as it's going to get in Chicago, Cleveland too, and some of this bleeds into the New England. And in case you're wondering if we're ever going to get a pattern change, especially in areas of the West where it's just been warm and sunny all winter, no. Next 6 to 10 days, all of the cold is locked in the same exact places it's been all winter, while the Four-Corner region towards California, Gotti, no signs of winter.
Yeah, we'll take it, and sorry for everybody else. Very sorry. Bill Cairns, thank you. And turning now to Venezuela, as the whole world wonders if the capture of Nicolas Maduro is going to lead to a regime change there. Today, opposition leader Maria Corina Machado said this about Maduro's number 2, which is the country's interim president right now, her other opposition.
Delcy Rodriguez, yes, she's a communist. She's the main ally and representation of the Russian regime, the Chinese and the Iranians. But that's not the Venezuelan people.
Yeah, this comes after her face-to-face with President Trump, where she gave him her Nobel Peace Prize, which she accepted. NBC News senior White House correspondent Garrett Haake has more on all of that.
Tonight, just 24 hours after Venezuela's opposition leader Maria Corina Machado presented President Trump with her Nobel Peace Prize, we pressed the president on what he'll do with it.
What do you intend to do with it, and why would you want someone else's Nobel Prize?
Well, she offered it to me. I thought it was very nice.
The president praising Machado after their Oval Office meeting.
I never met her before, and I was very, very impressed. She's this is a fine woman.
Machado earlier explaining why she offered her 18-karat gold medal to President Trump.
Because he deserves it for what he's doing to liberate Venezuela and for freedom in the Americas.
Despite Machado's gesture, the president for now standing by his support for Venezuela's interim president, Delcy Rodriguez, a loyalist of authoritarian leader Nicolas Maduro, whom the U.S. captured and brought to New York to stand trial. The White House says Rodriguez has been, quote, extraordinarily cooperative, including releasing some political prisoners and proposing new access to oil reserves. Machado optimistic about a future election.
I believe I will be elected when the right time comes as president of Venezuela, the first woman president.
Despite Machado's decision, the Nobel Institute saying again tonight that the prize itself remains, quote, inseparably linked to the person or organization designated as the laureate.
As they say, though, possession, 9/10 of the law. NBC's Garrett Haake, thanks so much. This week, European troops arrived in Greenland as Trump talked more and more about seizing the island, even by force if necessary. Take a listen to what one Danish member of parliament had to say about all that.
This is a real threat to us. We're not taking this lightly. We're actually talking about a war between Denmark and the United States that's being discussed at the moment, which is insane. That's our main concern, but the consequences of that would not just be for us, it would be for everybody. We're certainly not going to be in an alliance with someone that attacks us and try to annex part of Denmark. That's not the actions of allies, that's the action of an enemy. And we don't want to be enemies of the United States.
Now, all this as a U.S. delegation is in Denmark, along with NBC News Chief Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles, as you just saw. Hey there, Ryan. What are you seeing?
Yeah, Gotti, hello from Copenhagen, where there is a great level of anxiety among the people of Denmark and the people of Greenland about President Trump's insistence that Greenland should become a possession of the United States. Now, the people of Denmark have had a long relationship with Greenland. They have a cooperation. They don't really view it as an ownership of Greenland. Instead, they believe it's part of this broader kingdom of which they contribute to and the people of Greenland contribute back. And they also are insistent that they want to work with the United States. In fact, one minister of parliament told me that the United States has a number of military bases that are still in existence. There's still buildings there. There's still runways there. And the United States military could move back anytime they want if they wish. But President Trump has heard all of that and is yet still insistent that he would like to take control of Greenland. In fact, saying even today that he is going to use tariffs as a way to try and pressure countries in and around Denmark to force them to come to the table to come up with some sort of an arrangement that would give the United States ultimate possession of the country. Now, the one thing standing in his way right now are the members of the United States Congress who have broadly rejected the idea of taking over Greenland. And if he were to purchase it, if there were some sort of acquisition, it would cost somewhere in the range of $700 billion, and that would require an appropriation from Congress. The members of Congress that are here in Denmark meeting with Danish officials have said that they're not interested in that they will not appropriate that kind of money. The question is right now, will Donald Trump get that message? At this point, he seemed to have resisted any and all calls to stand back from this effort to take over Greenland, and it certainly has the people here nervous. Gotti?
NBC's Ryan Nobles out there in Denmark for us. Ryan, thank you so much. And turning now to what Trump said today, he repeated something that we have heard him say a lot. It is this interest in Greenland and the what he calls protecting our national security. Take a listen.
NATO has been dealing with us on Greenland. We need Greenland for national security very badly. If we don't have it, we have a big hole in national security.
Okay, but Greenland also has a whole lot of rare earth minerals. You know, those elements with the craziest names: scandium, iridium, cerium, neodymium. I don't know how to say that last one, so somebody hopefully can help me out here. But a lot of these are going straight into all of our high-tech life, and they're only going to get more crucial as AI continues to grow. Now, the United States has a super low supply, just 1.8 million tons, falling way behind China's 44 million. And when you add Venezuela and Greenland into the mix, it paints a whole different picture. Let's bring in Jared Perlow, an AI fellow at NBC News. So Jared, does it look like this could be a rare earth minerals kind of play? What does Greenland have that we don't here?
Yeah, and thanks so much for having me, Gotti. So maybe I can help you out. Neodymium, dysprosium, those are some of the few minerals on the wall there. So Greenland has some of these rare earth minerals. We know that. Now, it depends on what day you tune into Washington, D.C., whether they're actually at the core of D.C.'s play and America's play for Greenland. Just this week, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson said that we need Greenland for national security and critical mineral purposes. But back in December, Donald Trump plainly said that we need Greenland for national security and not for critical minerals. So Greenland does have well-established deposits of critical minerals and rare earth minerals. So these critical minerals are 60 minerals laid out by the U.S. Geological Survey, and they are incredibly important for national security and economic reasons. Things like zinc, like lead, but also those rare earth minerals that show up in emerging technologies like AI. So we're talking about things like gallium and germanium. Now, the U.S. does not have any active mines for gallium or germanium. Those are things that are found in semiconductor chips that are in satellites, in cars. Germanium is one of the key ingredients in fiber optic cables, which are important for current technology, but will also be more important as data centers for AI are built out. So there certainly are rare earths in Greenland. Now, I don't know if it would be, correct to say that they're at the heart of America's increasing interest for Greenland.
I also want to ask, I mean, is there a big mining infrastructure there? Because Greenland is a very, very cold place, and I imagine getting rare earth minerals out of a very frozen ground is not an easy undertaking.
Yeah, so Greenland is famous. I think they currently have less than 100 miles of paved roads. So infrastructure is not what it is in, most of continental America. But I talked to the CEO of one of Greenland's 2 active mines. There's a gold mine in southern Greenland. And he made the point that, some of the world's best, most active, the highest producing mines in the world are found in inhospitable climates, in Siberia, in northern Canada. So he doesn't view this, he oversees an active mine. He doesn't see this as, forever block on mining in Greenland. He also made the point that when you're moving heavy ore, sometimes it's best to be close to the sea, which a lot of these mining sites in Greenland are, like the Tanbreez deposit of rare earths in southern Greenland. Now, you also have to think about the fact that they're co-located. These mines often, they're right next to uranium deposits. You don't really want uranium in your drinking water. But I also talked to a member of parliament in Greenland's, in Greenland who said that increasing investment from the United States would be welcome. They see this as potentially hugely beneficial for the people of Greenland. So I think it's possible, but maybe unlikely.
Jared Perlow, really appreciate your analysis. Thank you so much. And don't go anywhere. Coming up next, why thieves are putting the target on collectible cards and what major card stores are trying to do about it. Plus, wild video of the moment a car crashes into a high school cafeteria full of kids. More on what went down there just ahead.
2 minutes.
Yikes, that is some scary video. All right. What do you guys want to talk about here? Gotti, where's my snack? In my belly. Read. Elias, if you give me the Nobel Peace Prize, I will give it to Lisa. I'll give it to Lisa. You can have my Peace Prize. Let's see, student driver. Yeah, that video is wild, right? How fast can I read? Oh, did you guys see that thing on social where it was like, can you read 900 words a minute? And then they just do the thing. I read it, so clearly 900 words a minute. Actually, interestingly enough, I used to be a speed reader where I did the, do you guys know how to do the speed reading thing where you kind of like cross down, take big chunks, big paragraphs and take it all in? And when I got this job, which requires reading from a teleprompter, I really struggled because I had to slow everything down and read word by word, and it was hard, and it's still hard. A lot harder than people think, but yeah, sometimes it's better to read slow. And then you get words like germanium and all the, words that were on the board.
Can I go back to the Nobel Peace Prize for let's go back to me for a second. Okay, wait, but if
you can have it.
So everybody here's a witness that if we don't win an Emmy collectively, then you got to give me one of yours.
Okay, I'll give you one of mine.
I know you don't care.
You can have two of mine. Drove our kids in the bike bucket. Oh, that's awesome. It's the best way to start the day. Best way. What's our time back?
20.
20 seconds.
10. 4, 3.
Hey, welcome back. Here are some of the other headlines that we are watching tonight. The surgeon accused of killing his ex-wife and her husband in Ohio has been indicted by a grand jury. Michael McKee has been indicted on 4 counts of aggravated murder, 1 count of aggravated burglary. Monique and Spencer Tepe were found dead in their Columbus home last month. And the lawyers for Charlie Kirk's accused killer are trying to disqualify Utah prosecutors. Tyler Robinson's lawyers say there is a conflict of interest because the kid of one of the prosecutors was actually at the event when Kirk was shot and killed. These arguments delayed today's hearing while the judge makes his decision. And the White House says President Trump has pardoned former Puerto Rican Governor Wanda Vazquez Garced. She was indicted on bribery charges back in 2022, and she pled guilty in August to a reduced charge of a campaign finance violation. And there was this crazy close call for students in Memphis, all caught on camera. A car drove through the window of Middle College High School, that cafeteria Tuesday morning. A parent dropping off their kid had some sort of brake failure, swerved to avoid another car, drove into the cafeteria instead. Luckily, no one was seriously hurt. And there was an avalanche on Russia's Mount Elbrus. But the good news here is that it was actually a controlled snow release. It's supposed to lower the risk of a random, more dangerous avalanche. But still, it was a sight that sent skiers running on the country's highest mountain. Meanwhile, people have been trading Pokemon for years. You got to catch them all, right? But now the trading cards are getting some new unwanted attention. Police are now warning collectors to be on guard for thieves as burglars hit major card stores across the country. NBC's Steve Patterson went to a store here in Los Angeles to try to find out why.
If you grew up in the 90s, there's almost no doubt you can sing along to this. Fans don't just know the theme song to Pokemon, they've likely played the games, watched their cartoon, or even traded a few of those collectible cards.
What's up? Look at this Snorlax.
Pokemon is now one of the highest grossing properties of all time.
Across
with
the
sales in the billions,
searching
the collectible
far
cards
wide.
have become a huge part of it.
Each Pokemon.
But the spike in popularity
I've been listening to
has
that
led to
for
thieves
like
twisting
hours.
"gotta
Great.
catch 'em all" into a criminal
way,
mantra across the country.
Chat, audience.
Like this armed robbery at a Pokemon store in New York City on Wednesday. The NYPD saying thieves took more than $100,000 of merchandise. And just a few days ago, police announced the arrest of 4 men responsible for swiping $100,000 worth of cards from this store in Burbank, California.
Unfortunately, we have to spend a lot of money on security 24/7, steel doors, just trying to make this place evolve, basically.
Rob Veras owns Burbank Cards, a different shop near the shop that was robbed.
It's one of the biggest in the country. I think it is the biggest in the country.
He says thankfully
they have so much crazy inventory. It's insane. They have like walls and walls of Pokemon cards.
You just got to have safeguards in place for both you as a business owner, but more importantly for the customers as well.
But why Pikachu instead of Jordan or Otani all of a sudden?
A special delivery Pikachu.
Oh my God, he's
I know.
Yeah, cool.
Rob's daughter Sammy
Perfect.
Veras is the store's resident Pokemon master and says interest is evolving.
Have you seen sort of a resurgence in the amount of Pokemon cards that are being traded?
We totally have. I mean, in the past couple of years, it's totally hit mainstream. And that has to do with a lot of different factors, but I think the biggest one it comes down to is nostalgia.
Those millennials who grew up dreaming of catching them all now have the spending power and disposable income to do it. And those lucky enough to hold on to their collection from 20 years ago might even be sitting on something super effective.
$1,500, $10,000.
$10,000.
I'm holding $10,000 in my hand.
What is
Like a
that?
brick of gold.
Rob started his
forgot what a
4
Garud-
decades ago
Garud
with
deck?
his collection
I don't
of
know.
sports cars and wasn't
It was
into
crazy.
the whole Pokemon thing until daughter Sammy and her brother convinced him it would be good for business.
And now we actually sell more sealed Pokemon products than baseball,
Wow.
basketball,
He's like,
or football.
Pokemon?
Pokemon
Yeah, and now he's just like,
It's a third of his
His
business.
dad was
It's like the reason why they're in that
Struck
place.
gold.
So these are both $110.
But we got the pack for like, what, $6.99?
What are you going to do with the money you made from selling these cards?
I'll buy more cards.
Oh man, Steve Patterson just rolled into the studio, strutted into the studio. Look, I would ask you a bunch of questions about your store, but I can't.
Sure.
What you got on the
Check
desk?
these
here?
out, guys.
What is this?
So I figured you were going to ask me sort of about the value
Yes,
of
of
Pokemon
course.
cards. Here I have Phantasmal Flames Mega Evolution. I think this is the latest set of Pokemon cards.
They're not even open.
They're not even. I figured you and I could get
dude.
down on these.
Yes.
And find out
All
if we're
right,
striking gold.
all right,
Take
let's
some.
see. What was
Take
it,
a pack.
$12,000?
Now, 10,000 was the one I held in my hand. So I pre-opened these two. So
Okay.
from the top.
Okay.
Yeah, because it took me an embarrassing amount of time to open them in the store.
Let's see.
So if you get anything that is like
Energy card.
Energy
Come
card,
on,
it's
energy
lame.
card. Ooh.
What do you got?
A
What do you got?
Flagon.
Okay.
Sandy Flappin, cutting
Okay.
wind here.
Oh, look at that one.
That's a pretty
Yeah,
good one.
Little hologram. That's nice.
Ooh,
So,
nice.
I don't see anything that's like
Nothing standing out
nothing
just yet?
standing
Hold on,
out.
let me
So
see.
so this one, right? Like because the art goes all the way beyond the border, that could be something. But generally, like they're
basic
either
stage one,
they say
basic
EX
stage one,
or they're
stadium.
super like gold, like the one we're looking for in this set.
Ludicolo!
What do you got?
I think it's a stage 2. It looks pretty
Okay,
sick.
that's great.
Look at that.
Probably $5,
Right?
if I'm gonna guess.
Yeah.
It's probably not much
Here we
money.
go.
The reason why they're so expensive is if they're in mint condition and you've held on to them for a long time, and they're part of a super rare set like a super rare card in a super rare set. So because this is the newest set, there are rare cards in this set, but you have to sort of buy a bunch of packs in order to find one. Charmeleon's cool.
Yeah, up for Charmander. We'll
there you
take
go,
it.
man.
All right, there we
Yeah.
go. Steve Patterson, thank you so much. Fascinating story. Always a pleasure to have you here.
Good to be here, man.
And coming up, the rocket that is set to take 4 astronauts around the moon in just a couple of weeks. It is just about ready to get into position for that major expedition. When we can expect to see it in all its glory on full display, coming right up.
That was awesome.
Yeah, look at this. All right, Charmeleon, is this
Charmeleon?
Charmeleon's pretty good.
I love
right?
you guys. You guys are so
Charmeleon's
great.
good.
I think stage 2 is good.
But they go up to stage 3.
Right.
Yeah, so
Stage 2.
I don't know if these were. This one might be something. This guy right there,
Ooh.
the monkey.
Oh.
Toxicity.
All right, let's see here. We got a
Toxicity.
toxic.
Hey, just getting word, judge rules federal officers in Minneapolis immigration
colluding?
operation can't detain
Man, I
or
have
tear
no idea.
gas
People actually
peaceful
play this game. It's
protesters.
crazy.
Yeah. Wait, I'm sorry. Can you drop that in mainstream?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, you're the best,
Here, keep
dude.
'em, keep
Okay,
'em.
I will. I'm gonna
Yeah,
keep these.
keep your cards.
Let's play.
Yeah,
Let's play
I'm down.
later.
I'm
All
so
right.
down. Bye, chat.
Thanks. Patterson says bye.
See you guys.
Later.
I'm gonna take my cards now. You never know.
These ones are mine.
Yeah, you can. Later, guys.
All right, we're gonna play Pokemon later, in between the news. Look, we gotta keep our feet to the ground when our heads in the news. Thank God, Lisa. Get the Artemis rocket out. I have the SLS. Don't worry. But I don't think you guys are gonna be able to see that because I think that's pre-taped. So you're gonna have to watch it on the TV. So as soon as we go dark here, make sure you turn on the TV because it's a really good segment. Let's see, what's the time back?
About 35 seconds.
35 seconds. Okay, cool. Do you still have time to read books? I read a lot of Fancy Nancy in the morning. No, this was not a trash bin. This is where I put my laptop and all the good stuff. Let's see here. Do you guys play Pokemon? Because I think this is a pretty decent little starter set. You like space? Can you do a space junk? And if it's out of hand,
7.
we did it yesterday.
5, 4,
Hey, welcome back. Social media is back in the spotlight tonight, specifically when it comes to screen time for kids. There's this new bipartisan bill introduced in the Senate today to help parents enforce limits for their kids, especially teens. NBC's Julie Sirkin has more on how these new policies might get teens to unplug.
You're 14, you don't have a phone, you don't have social media.
And I actually couldn't be happier because what I've experienced is an amazing childhood without having to use any of these products that have been advertised as making childhood better.
Laura Durendinger is raising her two teenagers, Agnès and Olivier, the old-fashioned way. No junk food, no soda, and no screens.
I've been called a little countercultural, but I'd like to just push back and say these are health-harming products. Smartphones, social media, video games.
On average, teens in the United States spend more than 8 hours a day on screens. Stopping kids from binging social media is something parents, lawmakers, and experts can agree on.
Gen Z is the first generation in modern history to underperform us on basically every cognitive measure we have, from basic attention to memory to literacy to numeracy to executive functioning to even general IQ, even though they go to more school than we did.
It's why 11 states restrict minors from using social media. 18 states and D.C. ban cell phone use in schools. And Australia is the first and only country to ban social media for kids under 16. But that's not the case nationwide in the U.S.
My generation is enslaved by the depression they are caused, the anxiety they are caused, the harm that is being caused to them by their devices.
Lawmakers have introduced dozens of bills designed to protect kids online and limit screen time. But no meaningful legislation has passed. It's why this morning Senator Ted Cruz convened a hearing examining the impact of technology on American kids.
The senators that are engaged on this issue and care about it, all of us are about the same age. We all have kids that are either in grade school or high school, but we're dealing with these pressures at home. Any parent at home with a kid who has a phone is dealing with it, is struggling, needs more tools.
It stemmed from his own experience.
How does Senator Cruz get his daughters to not use their phone?
The third, he asked me what day it was.
To be honest, I would say I'm an abject failure in that. They're 15 and 17, and it is, we are battling. Now, we do have different rules we impose, so we actually have no phones at the dinner table, which can be tough. They're sometimes extracted involuntarily.
Peer pressure, at times the most difficult thing for parents to overcome.
Do either of you ever feel like you're missing out on something?
Not at all, no.
After what I've observed of how my peers use it and what it has done to them, I could not be more glad to not have social media.
Stand by.
Julie Sirkin, interesting stuff. Thank you so much. Still to come, beware of deep fake weight loss prescriptions. With FDA-approved medications on the rise, so are the AI-generated ads pushing fake dupes. So that's going to come up next. You'll want to stay tuned for that.
Claire.
All right, Lise. That's it, right? Everything else is in the knock?
Nice.
What does that mean? Does that mean we just end the stream?
I don't know. I mean, I guess, well, because it doesn't play out, I guess you could still talk to them if you want to. Oh, sorry, I gotta talk to you here. You can still talk to people if you want to. I was unmuted.
There's this new warning about
you can talk to folks if you want to. Can I make break for 2.5 minutes, please?
Can you make break for 2.5 minutes?
Break for 2.5 minutes?
Can I get back to...
All right.
And now the show is timed out perfectly.
And now the show is timed out perfectly. Okay. Well, I think before they kill my live stream here, I'm going to try to show you guys how you can watch it, and then you can watch the rest of the show on television, because the rest of it was pre-taped. Remember, sometimes we do these things called pre-tapes, which is when, like an astronaut is like, sorry, we can't make it, or somebody's in a different time zone, or somebody has to go home because it's very late on the East Coast and not on the West Coast. We do these pre-tapes, and so what you're going to see is the show continue. Give me a second, but all right, let's see here. This is a TV, right? I know some of you, actually, I think somebody was saying that they're watching on the big TV, but you just watch anywhere, NBC News Now, and you'll see it. You just won't see this part. You just won't see us chatting it up. And this isn't working, of course, because it's something I was trying to show you guys. So Murphy's Law in effect. Anyway, I'm gonna get home now because it's Friday and I'm gonna go see my kids. But I hope you guys continue to watch, and thank you guys so much for joining us. I think this is like the first full week that we've really gone hard on the new streaming thing. So we're gonna try to do this every single week, and we'll see you guys on Monday. Hasta.